So if you're watching this video, it's because you have medical collections on your credit report. Whether you were notified or not notified, you looked at your credit report or you opened your mailbox and to your surprise, there was a collection on your credit report or a collection letter in your medicine box, in your mailbox. So now you're looking for ways to get rid of that. So let's get started. Now, if I do happen to look down, it's just because I'm looking at my handy dandy notebook. All right, so the credit bureaus are supposed to wait 180 days after being notified by a collection agency of a debt before they place it on your credit report. This is kind of the grace period time that they give us consumers, time to work out a payment plan with the collector or the hospital or the doctor's office or whatever, in order to pay this debt off before it's placed on your credit report. So during the 6 months, this is the opportunity for you to take care or make payment arrangements for this debt. Now, let's say the 6 months has passed, the collection is on your credit report, you're here now, the debt is here, you want to know what you can do. So the first thing you are going to do is send a debt validation letter to the collection agency. Now, why you're going to do that is because the FDCPA gives you the right to ask a creditor to validate a debt. Even if you know that, hey, I did go to ABC Hospital, you have the right to ask the creditor or collection agency to validate this debt. A collection agency has placed a medical debt on your credit report. The first thing you do is send them a debt validation letter, okay? In this debt validation letter, it's going to ask them to validate the debt. It's going to ask them to provide documents bearing your signature to validate this debt. It's going to say, provide dates of service. It's going to say, tell me, how do you know that this debt is mine? How did you verify that this debt was mine? What information do you have that just makes you feel like this debt is mine? Give it to me. I want all of it. This is what this letter is saying to them. The collection agency is going to respond in one or two ways, because the tricky part with the medical collection, why it's so tricky opposed to any other collection, with the medical collection, it's harder for collection agencies to validate your debt without violating your privacy laws. So that's the reason why it is so important to send a debt validation letter, because you're asking them to provide documents that they cannot furnish without violating HIPAA in some sort of way. Because if they're going to provide documents that validate your medical debt, at some point it's going to have more than just dates of services and the doctor you saw. It's going to show procedures. It's going to show operations that you had. It's going to show medical medications you took or medications you were prescribed, and this is a big violation of HIPAA. So this is why it is so important to send a debt validation letter to the collection agency off top. Do not throw that collection letter away. Do not be afraid to respond to the collection letter. Send them a debt validation letter. So when they respond to your debt validation letter, they're going to respond in a couple of ways. The first way is by not responding. And if they do not respond, this is where you go and you file a CFPB complaint against the collection agency for not being able to validate a debt. You sent them a letter, and you better send it certified so you know when they receive it. They have 30 days from the date they received your letter, not the date you sent it, the date they received your letter, to investigate and provide all the information that you ask. If they fail to validate a debt that is reporting on your credit report, what has to happen? That debt has to come off, because according to the FCRA, you are not allowed to report a debt that has not been validated. Okay, all debts have to be validated, as well as being properly reported and all this type of stuff. But right now we're talking about them failing to validate your debt. So you're going to file a CFPB complaint against the company for failing to validate your debt. You're also going to send the failure to validate letter that you can find in my group files, on my credit reporting, in my credit group. All right, so now let's say that they validate the debt by sending you, a bill. Okay, that's not what I asked for. I didn't ask you to send me a bill. I told you to send me a contract bearing my signature. I told you to send this. This is what I want. This is the information that I want. You didn't do it. Send them the failure to validate letter. And what this letter does is basically say, look, I'm going to give you another chance to validate this debt. Send in the debt validation letter again, and letting them know, like, this is the last chance that you're giving them to validate this debt before you move on to filing a CFPB complaint against the company for not being able to validate the debt. Or you could just file the CFPB complaint off top. Now, let's say they validate the debt by sending you your medical records. They send you something that has procedures. They send you something that just shows them everything that you had done, information that you probably haven't even seen. Now, this is where it's exciting, because when they do this, file a CFPB complaint immediately for violating HIPAA. You did not authorize them. You did not sign a HIPAA form authorizing this collection agency to access your medical records. You didn't do it. They're violating HIPAA. So that information has to come off immediately. They have to cease collection immediately. They cannot report this debt. They cannot collect on the debt. They cannot pass go. They can't do any of these things, but what they can do is remove the debt. Now, what they better be lucky you don't do is sue them. Now, you have the option to do that as well for violating your rights and accessing this information. So file your CFPB complaint for them violating HIPAA. Not for them just failing to validate, but make sure you specify violating HIPAA in your complaint, okay? And if you want to take it a step forward, you can also file a HIPAA. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying this right. You can also file a HIPAA complaint. The links to the CFPB and HIPAA will be in my description box below. You can file a HIPAA complaint if you feel like your rights have been and your privacy has been violated. File a HIPAA complaint immediately, and once you get this information in, you're going to get some information back for your records. You can forward this information to the credit bureaus. The collection agency will 9 times out of 10 fold when they hear the words HIPAA violation, because they're not expecting you to know that. So a lot of times it doesn't even have to go as far as you filing a CFPB complaint or even filing a HIPAA complaint, because a lot of these companies don't want a lawsuit. So when they see that you know something, they see that like, dang, this person isn't an idiot. Like, they know, they're going to remove the debt immediately because they don't want to go through a lawsuit. No company wants that. So if all you're asking is for me to stop trying to collect on this debt and to remove it from your credit report, you know what they're going to do? They're going to do that. Now, let's wrap this video up in conclusion. Step 1, what are we going to do? Send a debt validation letter. We are going to send them a debt validation letter immediately in hopes that they respond by sending our medical records back or some statement showing any type of procedure that we had done, the dates it happened, the cost, all of that. We want all of that information. That's why we're sending them the debt validation letter. Okay, if they send you a bill, if they send a statement, if they send something that doesn't really show your medical records, but it doesn't validate the debt, send the failure to validate letter, or just basically say to them, hey, you didn't validate this debt. This is not what I asked for, and send them the debt validation letter again for the second time. If they fail to validate after sending them a second time, go ahead and file a CFPB complaint. Go ahead and file a CFPB complaint against the company for failure to validate. Let me get some water. Okay, so if I don't already, I will have like over here on the screen, or maybe on this side since it's more space, I'll have something that you can include in your complaint. So just take a screenshot of that. So I hope this video helped, and I hope it just made it help y'all realize like how simple it is to do these things. Like, just being real, guys, like it's super duper simple, like, to dispute things like on your credit report. Like, it's not hard at all. I think what people tend to make it complicated is when it comes to the wording, like, of letters. Like, people feel like they have to know all these laws and the words that you use. Like, you need to just sound like a freaking, like you need to talk like yourself, basically. You don't have to switch up your lingo just to form your dispute letter. You don't have to be all extra professional with your letter, and you could just basically say that, look, this information is reported inaccurately, or hey, you didn't validate this debt, remove it, or hey, my name is misspelled, this is not how you spell my name, or this is an inaccurate name, remove the following names, or the following inquiries I did not authorize, remove this. Like, it's super duper simple. So don't ever overthink it. And yeah, just don't overthink it, and don't let it stress you out. Like, I cannot say that enough. I get a lot of emails, a lot of questions. I see a lot of comments in the comment section of a lot of my videos, and people are just really freaking out about like what to say on their dispute letter. And I'm just thinking like, bro, it's not that deep. Like, I know a lot of us don't know how simple it is, but it's really not complex at all. The things that make it complex is the fact that there's not enough information out there about credit repair. And the things that are out there, a lot of it, I don't know, I ain't gonna say it's wrong, but a lot of it just looks so freaking confusing, you know. And so that's why I even wanted to just start making videos about this, you know. It's because like, bro, credit repair is really not that complex at all when you really start looking at it. I just have to put stuff in my language and put my flavor to it so I can understand it. Because if I got on here talking as boring as the things that I read sound, like this would be so, oh, I'm spitting. This would be so boring. You know what I mean? Like, credit repair, it's boring. Like, reading about it and just trying to get the laws and all that type of stuff. Like, I can imagine getting on here reading the acts to y'all as they are and not putting my own twist to it. So, and I couldn't imagine writing a dispute letter that didn't have my own flavor to it. You know what I mean? So don't think too hard on it. Just start. That's all I can say. Just start. Okay? And I'll make another video probably right after this one because it's so quiet. Like, my baby is asleep. My son is playing a game. So I'm about to take advantage of this. So I'm going to go ahead and make another video kind of just for those of you who just need a little bit more tips as far as like writing a letter. And for those of you who are actually looking to start a business, I got some things that I want to tell y'all about. So tune in to these next videos. Yeah, so I'm probably going to try to cram a lot of footage in for the rest of November because I have been slacking for the past couple of weeks. It's been so many birthdays. My baby turned 2. My husband just had his 30th birthday. And so it's just been a lot happening these last couple of weeks that I've just been focused on other things. So I'm back. I'm better than ever before. We almost at 10K subscribers. Oh yeah. So, and that's another thing. Like, look, when we hit 10K subscribers, I got like, I'm gonna do something for y'all, like for a couple of y'all. You know, it's like gonna be so hard to just pick one person to do something for, but I got something special up my sleeve, you know, or up my sleeves for y'all. Yeah, y'all support me. I appreciate the nice comments. You know, I appreciate the support. I really do. It means a lot for somebody like me. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to stop because y'all know I don't like rambling. But yeah, I'll see y'all in my next video. And thank y'all so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for tuning in all the time. And yeah, guys, y'all have a great day. Peace out.